I'm Hannah Schilling. I'm the program manager for our Parenting Time program, our community sports program, and our life skills program. And I'm here with Audrey Gill, who is our Parenting Time lead.
And I also do life skills. And what else do I do? Oh, and parenting time assessments.
So we're here tonight because we just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what to expect in working with birth parents and how you can help facilitate relationships. Because for doing this for the past few years, probably, I don't know, I've been here for almost 13, we found that it's really important that if we can create some kind of safe relationship with birth parents and foster parents, the kids do so much better in your homes and with the birth parents. So we just wanted to give you guys a few tips to help make that successful. And as you guys are rewatching this, please let us know you have questions in the comments, and we will be happy to answer those and get them back to you guys as soon as possible. So I'm gonna actually let Audrey kind of run through the process of the initial parenting time assessment so you guys can kind of get an idea of what our birth parents are going through when they first start visits over here at Ariel or at Hilltop, or also down at Casa and Montrose. So Audrey, you can take it over.
And this assessment is one assessment throughout all those programs?
Yes, so Hilltop and any agency that works with Mesa County DHS will go through a parenting time assessment.
Okay.
Right. And so I do the parenting time assessments here at Ariel. And we initially get an authorization from DHS to do it. So my process is typically I talk to the parents, let them know that it's happening. We do a brief recording for that. And then I come up with an assessment that has some goals and some suggestions for the parents to work on during parenting time. Those are super helpful because it kind of keeps them focused on areas of need that need to be worked on and helps them grow. So it's super positive. It's very strength-based. And we do kind of, depending on the case, we do reassessments anywhere between every 90 and 120 days. So those goals change as we progress. And hopefully scores are going up during that time too, because parents are working on those goals and making progress. So it's, you know, I think probably a little nerve-wracking for parents at first, especially to be recorded, you know, and then given these goals that they're expected to work on while they're here with us. But it seems to be, we've been doing the KIPS portion of it for like the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be a pretty good assessment. I feel like the parents get a lot out of it. I feel really confident in that it does help them progress with their skills.
It really gives us an opportunity to kind of meet the parents where they're at. A lot of times when they have a case open, they're feeling really overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. Their kids have just been removed from their care, and they're just trying to really struggle, like, well, what do I do now? So that's why, you know, we usually wait a couple weeks to record the session. That way they can settle in a little bit. And then it gives us the opportunity to kind of see who they are. You know, everybody has a story. And I think that's the big piece that we have to remember is that I don't think anybody intentionally wants their children to be taken away from their care. And so when we can meet the parents where they are and know that they still love their kids and they're trying to do everything they can to get better, makes it a lot easier. And I think that's kind of where some of that stuff you guys can come in with is, you know, treating those birth parents with respect. I know a lot of times you guys will hear stories about trauma and things that have happened in the birth parents' home or, you know, with caregivers for these kids, but just really kind of knowing that the kids have a story and these birth parents have a story too. Like I said, I don't think anybody wakes up and says, hey, I'm gonna, you know, go OD on substance today or things like that. So I think that if we can support our birth parents, and that can look like, you know, hey, you know, mom's really struggling, but today you get to go visit with her. Do you want to take in a coloring sheet that you did for her or whatever that might be? And, you know, just giving that friendly, hi, how are you doing? And just kind of introducing yourself to the birth parents will really put them at ease. We can also have a more formal sit down where we can do kind of like an icebreaker and you guys talk about all about the kids. What do the kids like? What do they dislike? how were they in your home? How are they in, you know, the foster home? Are there certain favorite animals or stuffies or, you know, whatever it might be, to just kind of let those parents have that voice for a minute, and how you guys can come together to support the kids. And I think as we progress along with the case, we're going to be on a roller coaster ride. So if we can all be on that same page of protecting those kids and keeping them safe without threatening the birth parents, is really important, because I think a lot of times they are so nervous when they're around you guys. They want to impress and they want to, you know, be over the top, or they're very resentful. So just meeting them there and really giving them the opportunity to know that you're here to take care of their kids until their kids can return home. You know, we talk about reunification all the time, and that is the #1 goal. And if we can't get there, then we'll talk about plan A and B. And we do a lot of conversations and coaching with our parents when we kind of get to that piece of the case. So know that we are working it on both ends. We want them to be successful, but we also want them to be prepared if something doesn't go that way.
And I want to reiterate, the goal is return home overall for foster care, not just SBT, not just, you know, certain cases. The goal is return home for all foster care cases.
I want to share a story about one of our successes that we've had birth parents, foster parents working together.
Sure. Which one?
No.
There's been a couple.
Yeah, we've had a few really good ones.
Well, I had one, and it's been several years ago now, but I still have contact with the client. She's doing great. And she still has contact with the foster parents, and she's actually getting married in a couple weeks. And she let me know that she even tried to invite the foster parents. Unfortunately, they couldn't go because they had plans, but like, it's just awesome to even think like 3 years later that she's still using me as a support and them as a support. So that's awesome. It's super awesome.
And this is one of our moms that had struggled for many years. She's had several open cases. She had 2 of her children. One went to kinship for an allocation of parental rights. One of her other children was adopted. And then she was able to reunify with her 3rd child. And, you know, just using those supports has been huge. And I think that's a big piece of why she's been so successful for the last few years, is because, you know, she was able to get sober and knew she had a safe place to do it, and knew if something were to happen, she could rely on those foster parents to take back her little one if she needed it or needed a break, or, you know, to really just build that relationship. You know, I think they call her them aunt and uncle now or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, from my knowledge, she's used them throughout the years as, you know, daycare, respite. They've called her and been like, hey, we're gonna be in town. You guys want to go to the park? You want to go to lunch? I know that he's done overnights there. I think she's even went up there and stayed with them for like a weekend. So like, it's been a really positive like addition. I think they've just become like her family. So it's really cool. I really, really love that. And I see it with some of my other parents too, not to that extent yet, but just that little bit of, you know, just that connection. If you can find something that you connect with one of our bio parents with, be it, you know, you guys like the same kind of TV shows or food, whatever it is, and you guys, even that's that little connection, I think makes a huge difference. If you can, you know, when you see them every time, like, hey, did you watch whatever the show is you like? That's that little connection. And they know that you care. And even if it's not something huge, it's awesome.
It goes a long way.
Yeah.
And you guys, this is you know, the foster parents were really hesitant at first to build a relationship with her, and that's really normal. I just want you guys to hear that we'll never put you guys in unsafe situations. So if we have concerns with the birth family, your safety and the child's safety is our utmost priority. And until we can resolve those safety situations, we won't put you in where we expect you to have that relationship with the birth parent. But if there's no concerns, we love for you guys to be able to be on a first name basis and check in and see how you guys are doing and kind of build those relationships.
It kind of sounds like you said she had multiple cases in the past.
Yep.
And this one has been successful and stayed successful. And I feel like a huge part of that was that connection with foster parents.
Absolutely.
She had support because a lot of these clients come in and a lot of them are in care themselves, so they don't have people to go to. So I think that story is very touching to show that the support of the foster parents was a huge, huge difference in her life and the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So really that's a lot about working with the birth parents. I just kind of wanted to go over a couple frequently other asked questions that we get. I know a common one is that what happens if you run into somebody at the store? I usually say if it's a birth parent, we try our best to let them know not to approach you guys, but if the kiddo sees them, they're gonna see them and they're gonna run up and say hi. So it's okay definitely to say hi, check in for a quick second. If you have, maybe it's a family member or mom and dad's friend or somebody that you're not sure of, but the child seems to know them, I think, you get that mama bear or papa bear instinct and you want to protect. And I think it's okay to say a quick hi, but just make sure that you're on your way. You don't have to stop and have a 15-minute conversation with them in the store or anything like that. I think it's just being courteous. If you're uncomfortable with it, turn down a different aisle. If they keep bothering you, then you might have to leave the grocery store. I think a couple other ones that we get asked quite a bit is if families or parents come to visits intoxicated. It's hard.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. We, as long as there's not any huge safety concerns, we'll let a parent do the visitation. If we can see that they're visibly slurring words, falling down, things like that, we'll cancel visits.
Yeah. And a lot of times, I mean, it doesn't sound awesome, but a lot of these kids are pretty used to their parent being under the influence of some sort of substance. So typically it doesn't impact the child that much as long as parent is engaging. I know that's a concern for everyone. We are concerned about it as well. But like Hannah says, if they're not falling asleep, slurring, they're not engaging, we do have to allow the parenting time to happen and know that we're there to make sure that those children are safe. And if anything is to go awry during the time, the children will be removed from the situation immediately. So know that that's one of the main reasons that parenting time coaches are here.
Yes, safety is our number one priority. Another one that we get often is what happens if birth parents make allegations against me. It's not what if, it's going to be when. So remember that our birth parents have probably lost everything. So they're just trying to find anything that they can have control over. So whether little Johnny comes in with a tiny normal toddler bruise, birth parents might make a big deal about it, and just know that our job as parenting time coaches, we are mandated reporters. So we will, alert your case manager or alert the caseworker from DHS. If it's significant, we will call the hotline. But know that it's just to protect the child. We don't know what happened, we'll try to get more information, but again, we can only do so much and we're not the investigators. So birth parents, they do struggle with that. They want to have control, they don't understand, even if they had some of the worst abuse ever and the kid comes in with a bruise on his knee, they're going to make a big deal about it because they haven't been able to process their own stuff yet to move forward. What other questions do we get? I'm trying to think. Those are usually the big topic ones.
Yeah. I guess like also pertaining to visits, like if the kiddos are sick, which has been happening often, especially with COVID, we are mandated to make sure, or we are by the courts, they want us to make sure these visits are happening consistently and in a timely manner. So, if the kids are sick, we are going to have to make those visits up. And I know that's super hard for foster parents sometimes, especially if kids are missing a week or two at a time. We can also offer Zoom visits to kind of, make up some of that time, but we really do try to do the in-person time because that's really important. So know that that's hard for everyone, but it's just out of respect for the parents because it's, they're missing out on that time with their kiddos too, even though it's hard for everyone.
And a lot of our birth parents are pretty understanding with it. We're able to do the Zoom, we'll do the Zoom. If not, we'll work with your guys' schedule and the birth parent's schedule. A lot of people, we always call it Tetris because we're always trying to put everybody's schedules together and get them to line up. So I think just remember being flexible with us is really important and we really appreciate it. Also, when you're picking up and dropping off kids, please just make sure that you're on time. We tell birth parents they only have 15 minutes, and if they're more than 15 minutes late, then their visit gets canceled. So we just kind of want to show that same respect to the birth parents as well, with being timely and being here because we don't want to have to cancel visits. We know that things come up and we just ask that you be in communication with us. We all have our cell phones on us, so you can text or call. A lot of times if we don't answer a call, texting is probably the best just because we are in and out of visits so much. And I think that's kind of goes with all of our agencies that do visitations. So whether it be Hilltop or CASA, just leave a quick message. Somebody will get back to you guys.
Yeah, and to add on to what Hannah just said about that with the being timely, just know that when the parents are late, they don't get that time made up. So if they're anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes late, then that shortens their visit by 5 or 15 minutes. If you all are late, we have to add that time on. And so that becomes a struggle if it becomes kind of a consistent thing, because then we're consistently adding 5, 10, 15 minutes onto a visit. When, like Hannah said, we're already playing scheduling Tetris. So, if say for instance, if I have back-to-back visits, that's going to be a struggle for me to try to add that time on because I'm going to have another visit right afterwards. So just kind of keep that in mind, and just keep in communication with us.
If your kiddos are having a hard time before or after visits, also let us know that. I think that's really important. That way we can kind of document. That way we're prepared if the kiddos having struggles before they come in. So we can work with the birth parents. If they're just having struggle and they're on like the meltdown train after visitation, let us know. It could be because the visit's too long. It could be that something is triggering them. We just want to know. That way we can address it with the birth parent and with the team. So
I know another big ask is food during
Yes.
visits and sugar and sodas. What can you say about that?
we just let everybody party. No.
Yeah, it's
No.
just a big party.
Big birthday party.
No. For real, we really try to work with our birth parents about bringing healthier foods, healthier food options. I think the piece to remember is that the way they brought up may be different from how your family was brought up. It might be very normal for them to sit down and have a soda for dinner, but that's when our parenting time coaches provide that education about how that's really not healthy. We ask that parents don't load kids up on candy or cupcakes or whatever it might be, but there are going to be special occasions where, like any household, it might be a little bit more chaotic, but we definitely try to teach nutritional values. We are not crazy strict, about fast food, things like that. If they're providing dinner, they're providing dinner. That is a huge accomplishment sometimes. So
Right.
we are going to praise them. And then maybe that next week we're going to talk about, instead of French fries, why don't you try the apples in the Happy Meal? So things like that. We do provide that, the suggestions. Whether they take them is kind of up to the birth parent. If it really becomes an issue and the child is having some big things against it, so like say they have a bunch of cavities and the sugar is just making it worse, we'd say get it done from the doctor so we can provide that to the birth parent. And if the birth parent can't follow along with that, then that could be part of the case and some medical neglect or whatever it might be. So we do our best. Like I said, we are not crazy strict about what they bring as long as it's healthy in manner.
Yeah. And a lot of it too could be that, their socioeconomic status, they may not have the money to go and, provide a 4-course meal for their child every week, twice a week. So like Hannah said, that's why we're not super strict about fast food or, if they bring ramen noodles or, those sorts of things, because they may not be able to afford it right now. But if they're making the attempt and they're trying to feed their child, that's where, that's where we're really focused on, and we document, we document that we've talked to them about healthier options. And if they do that or not, like Hannah said, it's kind of up to them.
And if they forget a snack, you guys, we have tons of snacks here for the kids too. So know that we will make sure that your kid is not starving when they come back to you, although they all have high metabolism, it's like, so they can probably eat us all of us out of house and home, but we will do our best with that. And then gifts, so we try to really limit what the kids are taking home. We really ask that birth parents have approval from the case manager, because we don't want them buying their kids love per se. So if they have an activity or toy that they bring, we'll ask them to bring it next week so they can engage with their kids with it. If they want to provide some clothing, since the seasons are changing, we'll talk with the case manager and we'll talk with you guys. Sometimes it's those little things that the parents can provide that make them feel like they're making a difference in their kids' lives.
Right.
So,
and also if they do an activity here that parents bring, I just want to bring that up because Halloween's coming, Christmas is coming. Sometimes we do pumpkin painting, sometimes we do Christmas crafts. And we do usually let those things go home because it's something that they've made and visit together. It's not necessarily a gift. So that's really not something that we check in with the caseworker about.
And the kids are so excited to share with you guys.
They
Like, oh, we had a kiddo the other day that did this coolest pumpkin with these little squishy thingies, and she took it out to her foster mom, and she was so proud of herself that she did it all on her own. She was 5, and it was the first time she got to decorate a pumpkin by herself. So, it's just one of those moments that you get to be proud. If it's, cumbersome, let us know. We can talk to the birth parents about it. I feel like most of them know and they kind of get it, but there's a few that struggle. But we'll all work together. That's the biggest piece. And if you have that relationship with the birth parent, you can totally have that conversation with them. Like, hey, I appreciate if you could bring Johnny's winter jacket, or, he just grew out of his shoe size. Do you mind if I get him new shoes, or would you like to get him new shoes? I think you guys can have those conversations because it's kind of a co-parenting situation. But definitely, if you're building that relationship, then we'll let you guys handle it. Yeah.
So you said you document everything.
Yes, ma'am.
And how can foster parents see that documentation?
Unfortunately, they can't.
Confidentiality. So what happens usually is that if there's anything huge or significant, we'll give foster parents a heads up about what happened. We'll either text you or catch you after the visitation. But we can't share visit reports with you. Those are the parents' visit reports. Those are part of their case. If they choose to share it with you, that's their choice. But we cannot provide specific details or things like that of what happened in parenting time. Always questions to be had. So like I said, comment down below and we can definitely answer those for you guys.
Yeah, I think that's it for, just general questions. And how to help and assist.
Yeah, and I just want to say to the foster parents that, you're working with us as parenting time coaches too. You have our number. You see us, talk to us. If you have questions and you're not sure, reach out to us. All of us want to have a good relationship with you, and with our birth parents. So know that we're here for both sides. So just reach out to us if you need anything, and we will try our best to make sure we answer any questions that you have.
And we are all in this together. So if we can't answer it, we will make sure that we get an answer for you. And we just want you to know we appreciate you guys so much. We see the growth with these kids every single week, and them getting healthier and better and growing and exploring, and that's because of all the hard work that you guys are putting in your homes too. So we really appreciate you, and just know we're here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.